vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
This is Steve Moulton for Tellini's Italiano. Tellini's Italiano is located right in front of the Walmart, right off of University, behind the McDonald's. More or less catty corner from Topgolf. It's one of my favorite places to go to, and if you go there, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you need to try the baked spaghetti, add a meatball. Also try the baked ziti with meat sauce, add sausage. You'll thank me. Save room for some pizzas and paninis as well. And don't forget about dessert as well. The best cheesecake I have had here in North Alabama is at Tellini's Italiano. Find out for yourself today. That's Tellini's Italiano, right off of University Drive in front of the Walmart. Located online at Tellinis.com. That's TELLINIS.com. Let's get some Tellini's tonight.
Hey there, everybody. Bob Baumhauer here, letting you know that we understand that times are tough and we truly believe value matters. So, by popular demand, we brought back our Inflation Bites menu featuring scratch-made meals that will make the whole family smile, and your wallet, too. Menu items start at just $7.99, and any entree comes with a free beverage. Try our classic tailgate burger for just $8.99, or our hearty Bam Bam chicken platter for $9.99. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
In the Army National Guard, soldiers serve part-time and close to home.
My community means everything to me. It helped shape me into who I am today, and is where I choose to raise my own family. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from, and as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me succeed. The education benefits I got from serving helped me get my degree and jumpstart my career. The training and leadership skills I've gained from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people, help my neighbors, and look out for my community. I know that when my neighbors need us the most, my fellow soldiers and I will be ready. My family loves it here, and my part-time service means we get to stay here.
Serve part-time in the community you live in as a proud member of the Army National Guard. Talk to your local recruiter or visit nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard, aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There we go. The alarms have sounded. We are off. We are running. It is a Thursday edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond, welcome in. Yep. You guessed it. Raining right now. 72 degrees, 83 your expected high. At some point today, it's expected to stop raining. Just not right now. 256-576-4977. That's how you can join the phone lines this morning for the next 2 hours. Got a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff to visit, a lot of stuff to touch on. Never ceases to stop. Just when you think there's nothing going on, that it's a slow period, it's just that kind of summertime blondness going on. Yep. People gotta open their mouths and yap their traps and all kinds of good stuff. Our good friend Bert Bielema, or Brett Bielema is his real name, but here on the show it's Bert. He yapped his trap about the SEC yesterday in Chicago. We'll talk about that. Atlanta Braves continue to stay hot. college baseball going on in Omaha. A lot of stuff to get through. But we do start you off with some college baseball. Well, we'll start in Omaha. We started with the Atlanta Braves yesterday. They continue to baffle the New York Mets. They did last night again. But in Omaha, the SEC, LSU, and Arkansas for the right to play Coastal Carolina. We talked about Coastal Carolina and how good they were. Coastal Carolina went out yesterday and just eviscerated Louisville. 11-3 yesterday. Not even close. Louisville, 10 hits, 3 runs. Coastal Carolina, 11 hits, 11 runs. They are right now, I believe it's 26 in a row, playing the best, and they are right now the best team in college baseball. So that left LSU and Arkansas. And Arkansas was in control of this ball game. And you go all the way to the 9th inning. Arkansas in control. And then, well, LSU had chances. Arkansas, I should say, had chances to win this ball game in the 9th inning. 3 consecutive at-bats for LSU went their way, did not go the way of Arkansas. Here is how it sounded, courtesy of I wouldn't even call him our good friend Carl Ravitch, but this is what we have.
Call our good friend Carl Ravitch. He's the worst broadcaster, play-by-play guy since Chris Berman.
Well, you got to listen to this because it's the final 2 at-bats for LSU and just heartbreak for Arkansas.
It's called choke.
This ball is hooked to left field, and a bad read. It goes off of the left fielder's head down the line. Both runs are going to come in, and we are tied again. Oh, my goodness. He slipped, and it looked like it went right off of his body, and we are tied at 5. Hernandez, you can see him there in the foreground. He is the winning run. He does get one to hit. It's off the glove of the second baseman, and here comes Hernandez. LSU is on to the finals. They pitched to Jones, and it bounced off the glove of Cam Kojal. And the Tigers are going back to the finals.
3 straight at-bats. Arkansas had a chance to win this, put this game away. Couldn't do it.
Well, no, LSU choked too. It was the last 2 innings. That's all it was from both teams. I've never seen 2 teams tighter in all my life. I know it's the College World Series,
right?
But you get a ground ball to second, you pitch it, you just sort of underhand it, or just flick it, like a option pitch, and you get a out at the second. It should be an out at first. You're out of it. Instead, you turn like a robot. You throw it to second. You get 1 out, and then you try to go to first. After that, and it ends up being Jared Jones, who came through, who made up for it in big time in the last 2 at bats. He can't catch a ball that should have been a double play and got him out of an inning with a 2-1 lead. Arkansas scores twice to make it 3-2. But then Arkansas decides, there's 2 outs. Jared Jones is up. Instead of pitching around him, let's pitch to the big bear, throw him a first pitch fastball. He hits it out to right center. And so that ties it at 3. Then Arkansas gets another clutch hit to go up 5-3. And then you just explained and let the listeners hear what ended up happening. But I will say this, before that misplay in left field,
they could have turned a double play.
Could have turned a double play, but the player of the year in the SEC decided he was going to go to third and go the short route. And again,
didn't even get the out.
Yeah, he did.
Or he got the out, but
he got the out at third. It was a force out. It was the second out of the game. But if you go 6-4-3, very likely they turn it. And again, the run at going to third didn't mean anything. Even if somehow something happens and you don't turn that double play, even if they score, you're still an out away with a 5-4 lead. So him going to third made absolutely no sense. And then you started thinking, oh no, is this going to cost Arkansas? And then it was like a replay of watching Alabama meltdown against Vanderbilt on Sunday when they had 4 outs to go. And then melted down in the 8th and 9th, and a misplay in left field. And it was hit hard, but if you don't misstep, if you just read it right, it's just a line out to left and the ball game's over. And by the way, Carl, it was a shoulder, not a head. Okay. That's another horrendous call by Carl Ravitch in a great baseball game that had a lot of zany things happening. You just, instead of having Mike Monaco, who wouldn't have butchered it, you've got Carl, I suck Ravitch in the, I'm surprised after that he didn't say, hey, Kyle, what's your favorite food? Or some stupid line or something, but
what number?
Did you ever play outfield? Did you ever have a line drive like that hit right at you?
What number do you order from Subway?
But anyway, it was actually as crazy a game as I've seen, especially for what's at stake. My heart aches for Arkansas. They got a great team. I really thought my prediction was going to come true. They were going to push it to a game today, and it just didn't happen. And you kind of felt like once they tied it and they continued to pitch to Jared Jones that they were going to end up losing the game. And yet again, more cruelty. I mean, he climbed the ladder and the ball just ricochets off the glove. I mean, it's just against a team like LSU, a team with such championship pedigree, you can't continue to give them outs.
No. You
have to put them away. And for whatever reason, I called it, and I texted Chris Lee last night. I said, man, it's another Omaha choke. It's so cruel. I mean, everybody was referring to it on social media. It was just like 2018 all over again, where they drop a foul pop-up and Oregon State comes back and beats them and they don't win the national championship. Oh, just brutal that they have to lose like this again. And again, they still had work to do. It was no guarantee they were going to win the national championship, but they really should have had a chance to play LSU tonight. For all the marbles to get to Coastal Carolina.
Oh boy, Coastal! If there's a team playing with momentum, team playing like a steamroller, a team playing on a mission,
right?
It's Coastal Carolina.
And then one of the first things I read last night that's just an insult to everybody is, well, LSU's won another national championship, and I'm like,
look, there were people that when Auburn was playing Coastal Carolina, that there were Auburn fans that there were some Auburn fans that realized that Coastal was very good and that was going to be a very, very tough super regional. But then there were some that were like, well, you know what? I feel pretty good because, I mean, it's Coastal Carolina coming to town and, I feel pretty good. And they should have felt good coming out of the regionals, but you had to feel scary because this Coastal Carolina team, you start really looking at them, folks, they're good. They're really good.
That just assume things like that are stupid because they don't know anything about college baseball. They start thinking, well, we're 5 touchdown favorites. We're going to beat these guys 55-3. It's just like football. No, it's not, you bunch of dumbasses. It's college baseball.
Yeah.
And I'll just say this. I've watched all the teams in the World Series. Coastal is the best team. They're the best team I've seen. I think they're going to beat LSU, either sweep them or beat them 2 out of 3. I'll go ahead and say that. We'll see. I mean, LSU is certainly capable of winning it, but I think Coastal is the best team. I think in all 3 phases, offense, defense, and then on the mound, I think they're the best. So, certainly LSU's got their pitching lined up and all this, but Coastal's not going to be intimidated by them in the least because guess what? Did Auburn sweep LSU?
Yeah.
They sure as hell did in Plainsman's Park. And what did Coastal do at Auburn? They burned it to the ground. Okay. And so they were the better team. They went into a very difficult ballpark where Auburn has a hell of a home field advantage and Auburn had a hell of a baseball team and they swept them. So I like Coastal in the finals. I mean, I guess, it'd be another feather in the cap of the SEC, but I'll just say it. I'm tired of LSU, whip their ass Coastal and win the thing and then shut a lot of people up.
256-576-4977. You can join us on
because I'll be honest with you, just watching some of the social media reaction yesterday, and most of these people are just idiots that hide behind usernames. But some of these LSU fans, if I could have reached through a screen and grabbed them, I'd still be beating on them. That's all I'm gonna say. You've won enough championships. It's time for Coastal to whip your ass.
Oh boy. 256-576-4977.
Of the LSU fan base, I've been to LSU Alabama baseball games many times. Great folks, man, most of them. But social media brings out the trash in so many people.
Oh yeah.
Of course, they never say it to anybody's face because they get beat down right in front of everybody, and I'd enjoy watching it. But cowards are cowards. You know what I'm saying?
All right, 712 on
I block a lot of people.
712 on a Thursday morning. I did wake up this morning, got going, walked outside, and was like, crap. I felt like this, though, coming to work.
Row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Felt like that coming to work today.
I felt like Creedence Clearwater Revival. I want to know when somebody's going to stop the rain. And I've seen the rain. I've seen it.
I don't want to see it anymore.
Right.
I'm done with it.
Horrible.
Oh my goodness. I feel bad for the kids that are playing baseball, youth baseball during the summer right now that may or may not be able to get games in because the diamonds are just unplayable or
even on turf.
Yeah. I feel bad for them. Anyway, let's get our first break in. When we come back, Greg Byrne talks about Alabama and the House settlement. We've talked a lot about what schools are going to do, what sports are going to get some of this House settlement money, what's going on. Greg Byrne opens up about Alabama, what sports are going to get the money. We'll talk about that. Bert Bielema takes a shot at the SEC. I'll read you what he has to say about the SEC and 9-game schedules.
One thing. He got fired in the SEC because he couldn't get it. Get the hell out of here.
We got a lot of stuff to get through.
Illinois is not the SEC, bum patrol.
We got a lot of stuff. We've only just begun.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
Your customers deserve the best, and so do you. You invest in your customers with your heart, soul, and skill. Well, it's time to invest in yourself with the next generation Cat 255 compact track loader from Thompson Tractor. After all, those who give their best deserve the best, and this machine has it all. With features that include a more powerful engine, tri-axle truck loading capabilities, a spacious cab, and a smooth ride for all-day comfort. Best of all, now Thompson Tractor is making that investment even better with our Workhorse Special. Get 0% financing for 36 months on the purchase of a new Cat 255 compact track loader that comes with a 3-year warranty. You also get a 74-inch bucket and 1,000-hour filter kit. But hurry, this offer is only good through June 30th. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for details. Thompson Tractor, we're here for you.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Carrabba's Italian Grill is the best place to enjoy authentic Italian cuisine passed down from our founders' family recipes. Featuring a wood-burning grill, you can enjoy Carrabba's signature dishes, including chicken brine, wood-fired grilled steak and chops, and classic Italian pasta dishes. Have a special event? Elevate your catering with Carrabba's Catering, the perfect way to enjoy large party portions of your favorite hand-prepared dishes for any event. Carrabba's Italian Grill at Parkway Place, Huntsville.
Your Fox 54 weather brought to you by Tellini's Italiano.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky this afternoon. Scattered showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures climbing into the mid-80s, dropping into the mid-upper 60s as we head into the overnight. A mostly sunny sky for your Friday. It looks like we're probably going to stay dry. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s. It is going to feel like it's in the mid and upper 90s. That heat continues as we head into the weekend.
Your Fox 54 weather only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. The Blitz with Joe Hunk and John Abraham. Weekday morning starting at 9 a.m. on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is what we're somebody needs to stop it.
And we've seen it. We've seen it.
Well, we actually have a swimming pool here inside the building.
We kind of do. It's not very big.
It's a wading pool.
No, we could put ducks in it.
We could.
Like Duck, Goose.
We need to go get some of those little rubber duckies. And we need to put ducks. We could have a duck pond here inside the building.
Have everybody have a little name. Everybody has a duck.
We could have a duck. Oh, we could all go get little ducks.
Yeah.
And name them.
Yeah. Then and then everybody draw a duck. Oh my goodness.
Oh, anyway, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone 720 on a Thursday morning. Let's go out to
the last duck that's drawn. They have to have
what?
Have nuclear chicken from Dave's Hot Chicken.
Oh my gosh.
Johnny Boy tried some already. He said he was sweating.
How come you haven't tried any?
I'm not trying any that hot.
If we draw your duck, you will.
I'm not drawing ducks.
I'm just
having fun.
Let's go visit with Marky Mark real fast. Good morning.
Up, man?
What's up, Scott? What's up, Drew? How are y'all?
We're good. I hope you're not having to swim to work.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Drew. I don't know if you heard this.
Sure.
It was either right after the draft or just a couple weeks before.
Mm-hmm.
One of the announcers, one of the before you guys to come on between 6 and 7,
mm-hmm.
He said that the greatest player of Nick Saban's era was Minkah Fitzpatrick.
I would agree. I've said it on this show more than once. Scott can tell you that. I mean, I do, because he's an even more amazing story when you think about him coming out of Jersey and not enrolling early.
Right.
He didn't graduate till June, and so he didn't get there until late July and late June, early July, whatever you want to say, before fall camp, and just threw himself immediately right into the playbook. Standing next to Kirby Smart for every drill, every time when they started practice. I'll never forget the Kirk Herbstreit story when he said, "Hey, what's the story on this 29 over here?" And Kirby said, "He's different, man. You're going to see it quick." And he started the first game of his career without enrolling early, which is, everybody's heard me talking about Dejoun Lee, and I think he's going to make a big impact.
Right.
But he went through spring practice. Minkah did not. Minka was like an extension of Coach Saban. And again, I still, as long as he can stay healthy, I still expect him in Canton, Ohio. And it's going to go down in Dolphins history as one of the dumbest trades in history. Yep. I blame the idiot. I think he's still the defensive coordinator with Minnesota, Brian Flores, who didn't want Tua either, who they panicked, and he and the GM traded Minka after you. Of course, I think Minka wanted out because at that time they were a rudderless ship. And
I don't think Miami wanted to pay him, though.
No, Miami didn't know how to use him. They kept moving him to 15 different spots, wanting him to play every spot in the secondary instead of just putting him at safety and letting him make plays, because that's why the Dolphins hadn't won anything since the cows came home. But that's just what it is.
The one thing that I couldn't believe was Amari Cooper never had a meeting in Saban's office. They never had a one-on-one in 4 years, never got in trouble, nothing. To me, he's the greatest player.
Well, he's one of them. He's on the list. I mean, and let's not forget it was 3 years because Amari, didn't play his senior year.
Exactly.
So same way with Minka. So many of those guys were out in 3 years.
Brought it all to town. When Julio came to town, here we got some recognition along with Saban.
Yeah, I mean, Julio kind of set the tone,
So when Minka came to Alabama, was he highly regarded?
Yes, he was a 5-star player. He almost flipped to Florida State. Can you imagine if he had ruined his life and played for Dirt Neck?
In the state, in the country. Wasn't he the number one recruit in the country, Drew?
He was. A lot of people thought he was the best DB in the country, and some even thought he was going to be a corner. But he played both ways over at St. Patrick's, and he just unbelievable football player, unbelievable. He could have been a great receiver at Alabama, but he made. I mean, you saw the way he could run after the catch when he picked the ball off. He was like a receiver. He had those kind of instincts, and he was just off the charts. There was so many great players under Saban, but for my money, Minka Fitzpatrick is. And I wish I could find the audio, man. I did an interview with him for about 20 minutes when he was in high school,
right,
at a station over in near Russellville, Alabama. His mother was a great lady. She hooked us up, and we talked to Minka, and, man, it was a great conversation. I don't know if I'll ever find that, but it was an honor to speak with him. And his brother's, I think, a senior this year, coming up this year.
There's so many positions at Alabama that Nick Saban has a person just like that in that it's hard to choose one.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, so. All right, man. Good to talk to you guys.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. All right, what time is it? Let's see here. 7:24. All right. So I mentioned Greg Byrne and I mentioned Alabama, and this House settlement has come out. And so now schools are deciding what sports are going to get the revenue sharing, what sports are going to be funded scholarship wise, what sports are going to be affected by all of this. Alabama has a plan, and we cannot listen to that's Fleetwood Mac. Actually, this is a good one. This is a good one right here. This is Dreams. 1977.
Man. My boy B. Rich. This is jam right here.
This is good. This is the extended version, by the way.
She's still touring, by the way. Steve Nick.
Yeah. Man, that's good stuff right there. That's not what we intended to play. That's not what we intended. This is what we intended. This is Greg Byrne. Now, this interview was with our good friend Roger Hoover.
Yeah.
And it will come out. The full interview will come out later today.
Yes.
So here's a little excerpt of it, though. But this is Greg Byrne talking about how Alabama is going to distribute the $20-some million among its athletic programs.
So the House settlement gives us a number of $20.5 million a year. I'm going to get in the weeds here a little bit. Every SEC school program has committed to $2.5 million in new scholarships. Okay. That gets taken off the 20.5. So that means we have $18 million to work with in rev share. And then we as an institution decide how we will distribute that to our teams. We have taken the approach that it's based off of revenue generation. We think that's a solid approach. We think that's one that makes sense for our program. As you know, you've heard me say many times, football is the engine that pulls the train. And at the same time, too, our two sports that turn a profit are football and men's basketball. So they will have the highest percentage of that rev share, and then we're splitting up the remaining dollars with our sports who are ticketed. So there's 4 other sports that are ticketed: softball, baseball, gymnastics, and then with women's basketball and football. I think that gets to 6, if I'm not mistaken. Those are the 6 sports that will have some type of rev share out there. I've heard all over the yard how schools are doing it, and how many sports. I know one that we compete against all the time is only doing 3 sports. I know that some schools are doing a little bit for everything. I'm not sure how much of a difference that will make at the end of the day when you just carve off a small sliver for a sport. But we have a plan, and I've told our coaches in this, it's fluid. We're doing the very best we can to make the decisions that we are with the information that we have right now. But I will personally feel, and I think our department and leadership, and we've had incredible leadership from President Bell, our trustees, to navigate these waters. We haven't done it in a vacuum, just for me sitting at my desk and saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. It's been a collective effort. And I do think we put ourselves in a good position, not only for the individual sports, but for us as a department as a whole to make.
So there you go. And that's Greg Burns. So 6 sports for Alabama will be a part of the revenue sharing.
Initially, anyway.
Yes. And he was referring to other schools that they compete with. We can tell you that Mississippi State, baseball-wise, they will fund 34 scholarships on their baseball program. Now, remember, they did lure their coach from Virginia. And just to compare the two, Virginia was now only going to fund 25 scholarships. So he goes from 25 to 34. So that's a, big difference.
It is. And so, and again, I've always said Greg Byrne would have a plan, and
Yes.
he does. And you have to be fiscally responsible. And just because you're Texas Tech or Texas and you throw money on a wall, or Texas A&M,
And he's referring to Texas A&M in that, by the way, when he says they're going to fund everything. Texas A&M is one of those schools that's going to fund every sport.
and never win. At least at the highest level, because they'll just keep tripping over themselves, is what they always do. And I got a slight correction. There's so many, private schools in New Jersey too, but it's St. Peter's that.
What did you say?
I said St. Patrick's, but that's Kyrie Irving and Kevin Boyle's school a couple schools ago.
Right.
Because he just left, as we know, he just left Montverde. He's out somewhere in Ohio now. But like we said, and then I did say, I was talking about Minka's brother, Justice. He actually did just commit, got a message about that. And he is going to play for Kirby Smart in Georgia. I know Alabama had recruited him, but Alabama's pretty stacked in the defensive backfield.
Right.
Kirby's trying to reload over there. He lost some really good players to the draft this past year, and they've cycled through a lot of great players. And Justice Fitzpatrick, who his family relocated to the Fort Lauderdale, Florida area when he was with the Dolphins. So he plays at one of the best football programs now in the South in St. Thomas Aquinas, while Minka played at St. Peter's. But Justice Fitzpatrick, cornerback, I think he's more of a corner than a safety. He will play for Kirby Smart and lose in Athens to Alabama this year. Because somebody sent me this, that in the last 5 years, Kirby's not lost a home game. I was like, well, it's about time that changed.
Oh, you know what? That's going to be a good conversation in Atlanta. It will be, because that's going to be a game that people are going to bring up. People are going to talk about, because it's one of the premier games in the SEC this coming fall.
No doubt.
Let's get a break in. Speaking of college football, speaking of the SEC, speaking of 9 games, speaking of everybody else, Bert Bielema had some things to say. I'm going to read it next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Your Fox 54 weather brought to you by Tellini's Italiano.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky this afternoon. Scattered showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures climbing into the mid-80s, dropping into the mid-upper 60s as we head into the overnight. A mostly sunny sky for your Friday. It looks like we're probably going to stay dry. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s. It is going to feel like it's in the mid and upper 90s. That heat continues as we head into the weekend.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
This is Steve Moulton for Tellini's Italiano. Tellini's Italiano is located right in front of the Walmart, right off of University, behind the McDonald's. More or less catty corner from Topgolf. It's one of my favorite places to go to, and if you go there, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you need to try the baked spaghetti, add a meatball. Also try the baked ziti with meat sauce, add sausage. You'll thank me. Save room for some pizzas and paninis as well. And don't forget about dessert as well. The best cheesecake I have had here in North Alabama is at Tellini's Italiano. Find out for yourself today. That's Tellini's Italiano, right off of University Drive in front of the Walmart. Located online at Tellinis.com. That's TELLINIS.com. Let's get some Tellini's tonight.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com.
I'm here with Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. With the temperatures going up and temperatures going down right now, now is a good time to get your heating and air system looked at. Thomas, when somebody calls, you guys answer.
That's right. The phones are staffed by us. They're manned 24/7. We're ready to come out and take care of you that day.
How do they give you guys a call?
You give us a call at 256-503-4490.
And you can find you guys on the World Wide Web at
talenthvac.com.
And now is a good time to do this because you guys are offering a special deal.
That's right. We're doing $49 tune-ups this spring. We're also doing free second opinions. We offer that year-round. Somebody comes out, they say you got a back compressor, leaking refrigerant. Give us a call, see if we can save you some money.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. Thomas, one more time, that phone number.
256-503-4490. AL certain number 21014.
John Abraham here from The Blitz. Look, I love a good party. So why not join me on June 27th at Bobcat of Huntsville as we celebrate their new location on Highway 20 in Madison, right beside Redstone Harley-Davidson. I recently got to check out their massive 13,000 square foot location and I was amazed. Skid steers, excavators, mini backhoes, you name it. But don't just take my word for it. Come on down to Bobcat of Huntsville and enjoy the day from 10 to 3 p.m. Food, fun, and a whole lot of door prizes will be available. So don't miss out as the Blitz will be live on location June 27th. I'll see you there.
The Atlanta Braves.
Swung on and crushed deep left field. Kepler going back. Here comes some late night dynamite here at Truist Park. A walk-off home run by Marcelo Zuna.
All season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back in 65 days, 4 hours, 23 minutes, and 38 seconds until the start of the college football season. And meetings. That's all we have right now. Here's something interesting for you. The College Football Playoff Committee, they are very close to coming up with a solution to the whole college football playoff scenario. Just kidding. They're going to blow the whole dumb thing up because they're starting over. Okay. They're literally starting over. They have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
But so all of these powers are meeting with Rich Clark, and they're all meeting to figure out what they want to do as far as the college football playoff expansion. What do you do with we all know the Big Ten wants one thing. The SEC wants another. We all know the SEC wants a 5-11 format, but anyway, it's going to play itself out. They have until December 1st to figure it out. We may not even see.
That's a bluff.
Well, so what are they doing? They're in a meeting room right now. Rich Clark brought in a Google mathematician and a university math professor.
Hey, I was on the drive last night at Baumhauer's. I was stumping for the Collie Matrix. Just bring him in.
And what they want to do is they're trying to figure out strength of schedule, conference strength, all this other stuff. Okay.
So they really have to figure all that out. Huh?
Yeah, they're trying to do all this math to figure out. I don't know. They
don't have eyes. They got cataracts.
Well, so somebody asked,
and a lack of football IQ.
Somebody asked Bert, or I should say Bert Bielema. Bert. I want people to know that who we're talking about. So we're talking about Brett Bielema, but on this show he's known.
The Arkansas, but they're not be pissed anymore. But just
he's known as Bert.
It's Bielema, but I used to call him Belema just to make him mad.
Yeah. So old Bert was in Chicago.
Yeah.
And was asked about the potential college football expansion.
Mm-hmm.
And old Bert had this to say. He says, I don't think there's any way we could do a 16-team playoff if the SEC is not at 9 conference games. He goes, we voted unanimously as Big Ten coaches to stay at 9 and actually maybe have an SEC challenge. I was told that they, being the SEC, voted unanimously to stay at 8 and not play the Big Ten. But then some people pop off and say what they want to say because they want to look a certain way.
Well, Bert don't want none of that smoke because he'll get embarrassed. But unless they let him play Kentucky. Sorry, Jeff. By the way, I'm not letting you call them, but I'm still wearing the shirt I know you just love. I still love Leitner. He still owns you.
But old Bert, not a
Just
fan
like
of the SEC, not going 9 conference games yet.
Word. I do think they'll go 9 games, and I think they're going to – I still say the 5-11 format will be approved because, like I've said, man, you're trying to fill the seats. Nobody wants to watch Western Carolina play Auburn, as I said last night, or Mercer play Alabama. They want to watch SEC games, draw people to campus, draw people into the seats. So playing a 9th SEC game, that's fine, and it should also strengthen the schedule. But I think that's what Sankey and the folks are wanting. You better have a strength of schedule component.
Right.
You know, Bert can go back to playing half the MAC because that's what they do when they're not playing the Big Ten. And by the way, Bert, the bottom of the Big Ten sucks worse than your SEC record. So, you know, and that's pretty bad. So I'm just saying, you know, telling the truth there. And now Northwestern and all their woke wisdom, getting rid of Pat Fitzgerald, they're going to suck till the end of time.
So the bottom of the Big Ten this year was Purdue winless in the Big Ten. Or actually, Purdue was, a winless in the Big Ten.
Joe Killer ain't walking through that door.
They were 1-11.
Mm-hmm.
Purdue was 1-11.
Yeah.
Maryland was 1-8 in conference play, 4-8 overall. Hate that for Mike Loxley.
Yeah, I love
Northwestern 2-7. Wisconsin 3-6. This is just conference
and
records.
Wisconsin almost beat the Sucks.
How about this? Michigan State, Nebraska, UCLA, and Wisconsin were all 3-6.
I mean, Nebraska, you would think they would have brought something to the Big Ten, but they lowered themselves going to that league.
Right.
I guess some people spin it and say it was tougher competition, but I think they wrecked themselves because they got away from OU. They got away from all their natural rivalries. It's just not been good.
So you look at the bottom of the SEC, Mississippi State, Kentucky.
But some people are still saying Vandy, even though they had a good year last year.
Right.
Vandy beat half the Big Ten, like they stole some.
Is Kentucky better than your Purdue's, Maryland's, Northwestern, and Wisconsin's?
Yeah. I mean,
is Mississippi State better than Purdue?
Yeah. Not in basketball, but they're better.
Right.
They're better than everything else.
That's the whole argument, is the fact that the top half of the SEC, your Ohio State, or your top half of your Big Tens, your Michigans, Ohio States, Penn States,
and that's it.
Yeah, and then you have your top half of the
Indiana,
SEC, Georgia,
they played
Alabama. They're equal. They're equal. We say they're equal. It's just everybody says, well, the bottom half of the Big Ten is always better than the bottom half of the SEC, middle half of the SEC is better than the middle half of the Big Ten. We always compare the middle half and the bottom half.
Mm-hmm.
So is the bottom half, is the worst of the Big Ten better than the worst of the SEC?
Without question, it is absolutely worse than the Big Ten. I mean, it's horrendous. I mean, I know they're going to puff their chest out. They beat Alabama. Whoop-de-damn-do. You beat Alabama twice in a row. It took you years and years and years to do it. And now you're going to get a mallet dropped on your head. So just get ready. I don't even think Michigan will be a playoff team this year, in my opinion.
See, I think 20 years ago, or even 15 years ago, when we had the bowl games, you got a really good understanding of how good the conferences were. Well, now we go to bowl games, and a lot of people still puff their chest and say, well, look, the SEC didn't fare very well in bowl games, or the Big Ten was better. They didn't fare well. It's hard to judge a conference by their bowl game record now because you got opt-outs. You got people not playing. Your rosters, when you go to bowl games, are not the same as they were in the middle of the season.
No, they're not.
And so I think that's
tougher
where
to judge.
Oh, by the way, for those that really, really care, when you get to the college football playoffs now, injury reports have to be released going forward.
It's already been happening, you know.
But in the SEC, yeah, we have it week to week in conference play. Mm-hmm. Now in the college football playoffs, you're going to have to release your injury report before.
Michigan, you don't have to put up with more lies from Harbaugh.
Oh, no, you do not. By the way, I need to touch Baghdad Bob because I got to turn him down.
By the way, we had Baghdad's younger brother Daryl yesterday, and we didn't have any trouble over there at Baumhauer's. It's the newer version of Baghdad.
Oh,
I was talking to Steve about this version, and I knew it was another version because I didn't see any electrical tape.
Right.
And there was no
I just don't know
static.
which one. I just don't know which one affects yours and mine.
Right. Now Brandon was there yesterday, and he did say that he was in the office the other day when we were having trouble with Baghdad, and we were talking about
I found mine
in the back.
So there we go. Baghdad. I made Baghdad a little staticky.
He and his coworker were rolling on the floor with your commentary.
Well,
about what hole to stick it in. Oh boy.
It's either one or two.
Yeah. It's like a Diddy report. Jeez.
Let's get a break in. 7:45 Talking Ball. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. The following liner is courtesy of Frank Caliendo. Check out Frank online at frankcaliendo.com.
Listen to the drive with Wes Neighbors. I mean, Wes played at Alabama and he worked on the sled. I mean, it all comes down to the sled. I mean, I love the sled. Wes knows what I'm talking about. But as for Steve, Steve, he's one of those guys. The only sled he knows about was the one on Snowy Hill. Boom.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title. Because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal. And we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
All good things must come to an end. That holds true for employee pricing, too. Hey, folks, it's Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. The last day for employee pricing is going to be July 7th. Up until then, you can buy the new Ford you want and pay what we pay. We've got nearly 150 F-150s to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Had your eye on a Bronco Sport? It's employee priced, and we've got over 60 to choose from. Full-size Bronco, we've got over 40. New shipments of Explorer, Expedition, and Escape have just hit the ground, too. Again, all things must come to an end, and the last day for employee pricing is July 7th. Time to hit it and get it. Employee pricing can save you up to thousands off MSRP. With over 600 Fords to choose from, there's a good chance you'll find exactly what you need. Woody Anderson Ford. It's important to see us before July 7th.
Since 1986, Full Moon Barbecue has been cooking quality meats low and slow over a hickory wood-fired pit. From ribs and wings, brisket, turkey, catfish, and sausage to the best butts in town. If you're planning a holiday or a birthday party, Full Moon has a large banquet room. And Full Moon is ready for your next catering or tailgate. Just call us and we'll take care of everything. 256-713-0070. Full Moon Barbecue on the Parkway next to Costco. The best little pork house in Alabama.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at Your Home Window Company. When it comes to replacement windows, exterior doors, or new window screens, Your Home Window is the answer anywhere in Huntsville, Athens, Decatur, or Hartselle. Your Home Window windows and doors are made here in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. When replacing those old windows or doors, Your Home Window has the solution for you. In-home estimates are always free and financing is available. Learn more at yourhomewindow.com and see clearly with Your Home Window. Visit yourhomewindow.com to make an appointment today.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make. So it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Stuart Evans, mortgage loan officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation in a changing rate environment. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit me at our downtown Huntsville office and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Bryant Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
7:50 on a Thursday morning, a wet and rainy Thursday morning here in the Tennessee Valley. Yeah, a lot of standing water. Man, just be careful. Safe travels into work wherever you're going on a Thursday. Let's go out to the phone lines. Pat from Tuscaloosa with us. Good morning, Pat.
Morning, Pat.
Guys, we're well over a foot above normal for raining down in Tuscaloosa.
No question.
Feel for y'all.
Yeah.
Feel for y'all. But hey, guys, I want to know, can we get a tank to go along with a jet?
Well, it's gonna the visit's gonna be big. It's gonna be big for Anthony Tank Jones at St. Paul's, and Rodney Orr was on with us yesterday, and it was an outstanding conversation. You can also read about it on TireInsider.com. It was very enlightening and then eye-opening. I mean, he does think Alabama's right there in the mix, but he also said, watch Oregon and especially Texas A&M with Anthony Tank Jones. A&M's always been in there. He's visited several times. To me, I think Kalen DeBoer, Christian Robinson, and also Courtney Morgan, they need to hit it out of the park this weekend. If you want to convince Tank Jones not to take Texas A&M money and never win a thing, and come to Alabama and try to represent your home state, win championships, go to parades, not watch them on television, then I think Alabama Pat needs to, knock it out of the park with Anthony Tank Jones.
Yes, the guy. Drew. I looked at him on film and on the hoof. That rascal looks like a football player. He's every bit of 6'4", and he looks like he's out of 250 plus pounds. That his size is absolutely incredible. He looks like an athlete. Now whether and from what I understand, he does not play like Jane. He plays like Tarzan.
Yeah, you would hope so. And he's one of a handful of elite guys in state that Alabama would like to sign in the 2026 class, and most of those guys will be on campus this weekend.
Yeah, and being that we've got the last hurrah, and now what do you think about Morgan having come in early in this recruiting visit weekend and possibly get more one-on-one with the coaches and things? I think this is boding well for us. What do you believe?
I think Alabama's been in strong shape for Cedarian Morgan, the top prospect in the state, from wide receiver from Benjamin Russell High School. I think they've made him a priority from the jump. And I know Auburn and Florida certainly have been swinging, but I think Alabama's going to close the deal this weekend with him.
Well, I think that's possibly the reason that they asked Keys to come in later in the fall, so that everything is focused on Morgan.
Well, I'm not even sure Keys will be there. I would watch Brian Williams Jr., who I think is much better than his ranking, and then I think there's potentially another addition to the class from Nashville, a kid you like quite a bit that's coming in this weekend as part of the wide receiver visitors list as well. Yes, sir.
I have a blessed day, and ESPN is so lucky to have you, Drew. Because I'm learning from you to go out and watch more and more film on, like you said, abstract people. Whenever I went out and found that quarterback out in Omaha, Nebraska. Hey, he's in the top 10 out there to the Elite 11.
Yeah, I saw some highlights. Looked like he was still doing well yesterday as well.
Yeah. All right, have a blessed one, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
Man. All right. Little football news and notes there.
And the wide receiver I was talking about, he's from Nashville Christ Presbyterian, is Owen Cabell. He really had a good workout at Alabama on a unofficial visit, or really a 7-on-7, I think, kind of deal earlier this year. And I believe he's coming in. I think it's an official visit this weekend, but he's another guy that Alabama could decide to take. And I think they could take as many as 3 wide receivers in this 2026 cycle.
We are just about done with hour number 1. When we kick off hour number 2, Alex.
Speaking of Alabama,
Scarborough going to join the cause.
Yep.
Going to talk to Alex.
I'm anxious to hear Alex's thoughts, too, about Greg Byrne and what he said about the revenue sharing and what the $20.5 million, what they're going to do. Because Alex is very close to the University of Alabama and the athletic department and what his thoughts are on it. And we might even ask him about Burt.
Oh, do we got to ask him about Burt?
Well, we could get his thoughts on a 9-game schedule. Does he think that is the ultimate outcome of all this pontificating?
Look at you.
And posturing.
That's part of your proviso, right?
What was that?
Was that part of your proviso to use that word today?
It's a new word for me.
I've got a plethora of them.
There you go. Scott adding to the vocabulary over there.
All right. We're just about done with hour number 1. Alex Scarborough going to join us here in just a little bit as we get his things. So when you were not here, we did go over some of these records that Alex Scarborough put out there. Like, these are records at Alabama, offensively, single game, defensively, single game records that will never be broken.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that Alabama in a single game rushed for 748 yards? That is the record for single rushing yards in a game.
Against Virginia Tech.
Yes.
1973.
Yes. That's because you heard the show, right?
No, it's not.
Okay. I'm just
my dad told me about that game many times. They were called VPI back then.
most points in a game.
Yeah.
89 scored against. If you can get this one, that'd be impressive.
University of the South.
Nope. Similar opponent, Delta State,
Almost.
1951.
Almost.
Fewest yards allowed.
Got to be during 1961, 26.
1940 season.
Dang it.
Minus 17 against Mercer.
Oh, well, I mentioned Mercer earlier in the show.
All right. Most passing yards in a game.
Bryce Young.
Yes.
550 plus.
559. Yes. Longest field goal. This one surprised me. This one really did surprise me.
Right. I don't know.
Van Tiffen in 1985, 57 yards. Used a T at that time.
Yeah, I was. My first thought was Will Reichert had made like a 56, 57 yarder, but without a T. But Van Tiffen was a heck of a kicker, man.
And the longest punt belongs to a guy by the name of Dixie Howell.
Yeah, he won
back
all-time
in
greats.
1933, 89 yards.
89-yard punt.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Alex threw this in there as well. Has Alabama ever scored on its first play from scrimmage in a season opening game?
Yes, Nick Saban, Terry Grant.
Boom! Look at that.
Cut back against the grain. Was watching it on pay-per-view.
All right, got to get a break in. Alex Scarborough going to join us top of the hour.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
Braves blanked the Mets 5-0 yesterday. Spencer Strider on the hill today for Atlanta. $1.37 favorite against Clay Holmes of the Mets plus 112. 8.5 under the total. College World Series Championship Series Game 1 Saturday. LSU laying $1.75 against the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers plus 135. NASCAR this week at Pocono for the Cup race Sunday. Danny Hamlin plus 450. Xfinity race Saturday. Justin Allgaier plus 280. And Corey Heim plus 110 when the Truck Series race at Pocono on Friday. NBA Finals Game 6 tonight. Oklahoma City laying 6 against Indiana at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Hour 2 is upon us. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome in. No. Sportsman Orthopedic Surgery. And yeah.
You had one of them moments.
I did. It's yes.
They happen.
Doesn't belong on the show moment. 256-576-4977. You can join us later in the program. Sportsman Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, dedicated to providing care that improves lives. Give them a call, 256-881-5151, if you want to experience the sports med difference. Now, we ended hour number one by within hour number one, we heard from Greg Byrne. And that full interview will be later today on the Crimson Tide Sports Network podcast or whatever. It's with Roger Hoover. Great interview, by the way. We played you some of that interview, and Greg Byrne explained how Alabama was going to divvy up all of their revenue sharing. There's a lot going on there, and he's like, get into the weeds with it, because it is. It's tough. And I don't want to be, and I would not want to be in any college athletic director's shoes right now, having to decide where it all goes. Because on the flip side of it, some sports could get cut, some sports could be reduced. It's a very tough spot to be in right now, and Alabama's none the exception. But we also ended the hour talking about some trivia and some notes that our next guest put out there as far as records goes. Kind of fun to kind of nostalgically talk about.
Yeah, and we always love catching up with our next guest. We'll see him. He will be front and center in Atlanta, Georgia at the College Football Hall of Fame for SEC Media Days, especially on the day of the 16th when Kalen DeBoer takes the stage for the University of Alabama to be ceremoniously really to kick off year 2 of his tenure in Tuscaloosa. And it's always great to catch up with Alex Scarborough, who's been kind enough to join us, part of the 24/7 Sports Network and Bama 247. Alex, you were Drew and Scott. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, fellas?
We are
doing good.
Hey, we do have a little bit of breaking news. I told Scott this just off of off the air right before we came back, and it was reported by your colleague at 24/7 Sports, Matt Zenitz. But very interesting. C.J. Mosley, who still probably is underrated in some respects for what all he did at the University of Alabama, retiring from the NFL after 11 years.
Hats off to CJ on a terrific career. B, man, that makes me feel really old.
It does.
I remember covering him as he was rising up the ranks at Alabama from a freshman to a very reliable upperclassman for a long period of time. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. You know, the Reuben Fosters of the world get talked about a lot, and with very good reason. Reuben just hits you like a Mack truck. But CJ, every single game, he brought it. And he was probably the most reliable linebacker that maybe I can remember. And I remember Nick Saban getting up there one day, and it was a mini rant, so it didn't really go very far.
Right.
Talking about all the stories we write. Why don't we write a story about this guy? And I said, well, okay, I'll do it. And the more you learned about him, you're like, this guy, the kid comes from a great family, has a great head on his shoulders. And we've seen that play out. We saw it play out at Alabama. We saw it play out with a terrific pro career. And I'm very excited to see what he wants to do next, because I think if he wanted to get into coaching, if he wanted to get into anything, I think he'd be successful. He's just that kind of guy.
And we know his brother is already part of the Alabama staff.
Absolutely. Jamie's been around for a long time and been lending a hand. That whole family, man, they know what they're doing. I'll give them that. Sometimes you run across families like that. You cover this sport long enough and you just say, hey, there's a common denominator here. It's not just bloodlines. It's how they're raised. And those two definitely were raised the right way and have put together, matured into really, successful adults. I think we can say at this point, even though they're well past age of 18.
You know what we just did, Scott? I just gave Alex his next story.
Did you?
Yeah, because now that he's retired.
Don't put me to work. I got enough going on.
Well, I was just going to say, I say normally right about now, this is when you kind of like, okay, we figure out we're getting ready for SEC Media Days. What are we going to talk about in Atlanta? What's the conversation? But Alex, I tell you what, right now, I mean, it's a shame that we're having, it's all about off the field conversations. It's all about revenue distribution, revenue sharing. Where's the money going to go? And Greg Byrne sits down and kind of explains where and how Alabama is going to try to distribute some of this money to within its athletic programs.
Yeah, it's it's unfortunate that this is the thing that dominates it. It's,
Yes.
we have to talk about money every time. We have to talk about legislation and automatic qualifiers and all of these things that are inherently they're not political all the time, but it feels like it. It just feels like you're getting further and further away from the sport. And at the end of the day, that's the thing we all love. We all love showing up on Saturday and watching, young men compete and watching really high level coaches compete. And I don't think that's gone away. I hate that kind of dominates the conversation, but I understand that's also where we're at. And this money, when you have a pot of $21.5 million that you need to share with your athletes, if you've opted in, you've got to choose where that goes. And I don't blame Greg Byrne one bit for saying it's pretty simple. The programs that make money, basketball and football, are the programs that are going to get the most money. It's just common sense. Now, the second part of that is, well, what does that mean moving ahead? What does that mean for programs that don't generate revenue? Programs, I think you listed 4 programs, including softball, that sells tickets. Those will get support as well. Well, what about track and field? What about all these other ones? You can look ahead to a future and maybe envision a day where those things are not as prevalent or even around, period. We're not there yet. Maybe we never get there, but that's where we are now. The sport is more of a business now than it's ever been. It probably had to go this direction one day, but it's unfortunate that that's the case. And Alabama's going to do what Alabama has to do, which is invest into football, because that's the thing that drives the engine for every sport in that athletic department.
And I've been around Greg some, and you've been around him a lot, though. But they've been working on this for several years now. He's always had a plan going forward once this was voted in, I think.
Absolutely. He's talked to coaches for 3 years about it, that this was coming, and this was the thing we need to prepare for. And we need to look at, the term in football is self-scout, but I think it applies to an athletic department. It applies to every program to say, hey, what do we need and what can we live without? And where do we need to focus our attention? And there's still going to be very difficult decisions that he has to make. I think the question that Alabama fans, in particular the football side and basketball side, have to sort of try to grasp is this good for Alabama? And I think at the net is going to be a positive, because it should, in theory, level the playing field some. If this clearinghouse for athlete deals is legitimate and enforceable, this will benefit Alabama, because it will be able to leverage their brand and create true NIL. Nick Saban talked about it. Greg Byrne has talked about it. They'll be able to do that and catch up in an area where they're a little bit deficient, which is having the same kind of wealthy donors that a Texas A&M, Miami, those schools have. So I think at the end of the day, as it relates to those two sports, basketball and football, this will help. I think we'll have to see how much, and we'll have to see what is enforceable. I mean, we're already seeing this morning bills introduced in Michigan saying basically you can't, you don't have to abide by the rules. And there's a term, I think Greg Sankey was the one who said it, I could be wrong, basically said, at the end of the day, we got to agree to be governed. We got to agree to have rules.
Right.
As a conference. And I think that's where the rubber is going to meet the road. Who is going to stand up, whether it's a conference, whether it's the NCAA, and say, I don't care what your state legislation said. You are a member of our conference, and you can just as easily not be a member of our conference. You've got to choose to play by the rules.
Yeah. And do you think, the state of Alabama, do you get a sense that the state of Alabama, they won't join in something like that, will they? Where they pass a law that says we don't have to abide by what that is. They're going to fall under the umbrella, and they're going to say, we're going to do whatever we need to do to make sure that we have rules.
I think so. And I think a lot of that is them taking the guidance of a couple of people, Greg Byrne being one of them, Nick Saban being the loudest voice in the room, not necessarily because he's screaming, because he's the guy who they're going to listen to. And he has said for his entire career, he has emphasized the idea of parity and following what is laid out in front of you. And if they go to him, which every legislator in the state is going to listen to what Nick Saban says, he's going to say that, hey, there need to be guardrails. Otherwise, it's not at the benefit of anybody. And I'll go back to what I said before. If there are no guardrails, which is where we were a month ago, and where we still are sort of now until all this stuff is enforced, it wasn't benefiting Alabama. If anything, it was pulling Alabama back toward the pack. Because, again, there are not the same number of wealthy donors that Alabama can just say, hey, cut a check and we'll sign this guy. Don't worry about a cap. That doesn't matter. None of this. It doesn't matter if it's NIL. Show up to the ice cream shop, take a photo, and you can give them $500,000. That pool of people is not as readily available here. So it's in Alabama's best interest for there to be these guardrails. So I think that's why politicians are saying, let's hold back. And I think it's a reflection of Nick Saban, but also the way Greg Byrne has been sort of methodical and wanting to stay within the parameters of the rules and wanting there to be these sort of guardrails in place, that I think they're probably following those cues more than anything else.
Well, and then I've got to say, ultimately, we're going more and more toward the pro model anyway. We're talking about June OTAs, things of that nature, and even instead of spring practice. I would think eventually, as I've said, the federal government's going to have to get involved. There's going to have to be some sort of antitrust deal where I know people don't want to treat the players as employees, but this is kind of where it's going.
Mike Rodak, my colleague, and I have a podcast. Not that people should be listening. You should listen to both.
And Mike was in the NFL for a good while. So
we've been beating this drum for over a year that all of this is foolishness. That at the end of the day, you have to make them employees.
Right.
I understand all of these reasons. Why not? I understand the liability. I understand the benefits. I understand the cons. I understand all of that. But until you have employees that you can then collectively bargain with, you're going to have lawsuits until the sky turns blue. And it's never going to be ending.
Right.
So, yes, maybe they get an exemption from Congress. I wouldn't hold your breath. They've been talking about that for years now. And this is a Congress that can't act on almost anything. And that's not a political statement. That's a fact. So what gives us hope? And again, this morning, there are bills introduced in state legislative bodies counteracting what the NCAA wants and what these schools want, by and large. So why do you think there's going to be consensus enough to get an exemption? I just think it's a fool's errand. And at the end of the day, let's just cut to the chase, rip the Band-Aid off, make them employees, whatever has to happen,
Right.
because that's where we're headed. Just fast forward and get to it already.
Well, one of the other topics that we've been talking about this morning, and it deals with the SEC, is the fact that this 9-game conference schedule seems to just keep coming up. And it was, brought up at the SEC spring meetings. Brett Bielema goes on record yesterday. Yeah, we call him Bert, but he says that, the SEC, they won't get on board with 9 games. We want to do an SEC Big Ten challenge, but they won't get on the board.
Want that.
Yeah, it's just, boy, can we just get football going? But I mean, will the SEC ever do 9, Alex?
I really like Brett Bielema, but there's no interest like self-interest. And he will toe whatever company line needs to be towed, because for however many years it was at Arkansas, he was saying the SEC was flat out the best conference in the history of the world and all of that. And suddenly it changed. And now he's the antagonist. And you know what? God bless him. It makes it more fun. Are we going to get to 9 games? Maybe eventually. But again, other things have to happen. We're stuck in this period like we're on a merry-go-round. It applied to what we were talking about before with NIL and these, are we going to make them employees? It applies to the college football playoff right now. And I think some of it might just be that so much is out of these guys' control that they're going to nitpick over a playoff and spend 4 years haggling over what the qualifications are going to be. We're going back to determining a different sort of strength of schedule. That's where we're at. It's ridiculous. We're not even talking about automatic qualifiers anymore. So if we can't come to an agreement on that, the SEC can't move on adding a 9th conference game, because none of these athletic directors want it. They all feel, whether they're right or wrong, I think they're more right than they are wrong, that they are at a disadvantage because they play the most difficult schedule in the country. And why would they make it more difficult and create a further barrier to get into the playoff? They don't believe that the selection committee will value strength of schedule the way they think they should. Why would they add an extra game? So until there is a playoff system in place, whether that is automatic qualifiers, whether that's something else, straight seeding, just pick the top 16 and go, which seems to have some movement. Until that happens, they're not going to move on 9. And I hate to be the guy who says, I just don't know, but I just don't know when they're going to come to a consensus on a college football playoff because there's too many competing interests. And one week it's, we're going to do 5 plus 11. One week it's destined, we'd really like to do just straight 16. And then the next week, we got Brett Bielema at Wrigley Field for some God knows reason, popping off and talking about how, it's never going to work. The SEC doesn't want to do it. Where's the consensus? And if there's no consensus, the league isn't going to act.
Well, I will say this, though. I think this December 1st decision, I think that's a bluff. They're going to have it done before then, right?
You'd think. You'd think. But how many times has the SEC kicked the can on 9 games now?
Yeah,
we're up
that's
to
true.
2 spring meetings.
Yep.
We're 2 spring meetings and counting, plus they have other meetings, and they just haven't been able to get it done. The ESPN is reportedly willing to kick in a lot more money, still can't get it done. Where is the point of no return? Where's the point where we're going to get a press release? And my colleague, John Talty, and I, around this time, I want to say, a year ago, reported that they were sticking with 8 games going into 2025. I just keep thinking, is there going to be another report like that saying, we've got to stick with it and we'll look at it again next year?
So we are less than a month away from SEC Media Days. I want to ask you, though, when Alabama gets there to the College Football Hall of Fame, just this Alabama football team surrounding the play on the field, what do you think is going to be the biggest question that Kalen DeBoer and company are going to be faced with as far as this year's team goes when we get to College Football Media Days?
A quarterback, baby. There's no doubt. It's Ty the guy, and if Ty is the guy, is he good enough? I can tell you my personal thoughts on that. Yeah, he's the guy, and it's TBD on if he's good enough. But everything else on this roster seems to be in place. I wish they had more, star power at running back. Eventually, maybe that'll get fixed. But their offensive line returns a lot of production. Their defense returns a lot of players and should be in really good shape, and they've improved their wide receiver core. So the question is quarterback. The question is, can Kalen DeBoer get it done in the SEC? I think those are going to be the 2 things that dominate more than anything else, besides all this stuff off the field that raises my blood pressure. But yeah, it's Ty, it's Keelan, it's Austin. It's how that quarterback battle plays out.
Well, and then I thought your piece was really good too about how there's misconceptions because there's a lot of people calling Kalen DeBoer too soft last year and the way he his coaching style and things of that nature. But behind the curtain, so to speak, I don't think he's as laid back as you wrote, as people understand.
No, and I part of this was, I think I wrote a story a couple of days before that piece about Ryan Grubb and how he is the most intense person on this staff by all accounts.
Saban level ass chewings, yes.
Yeah, that is the term. And I think some people, I sort of saw them say, I wish Kalen did this. And I was just like, thankfully I'd already had those conversations, so I was able to kind of pull that club out of the bag and say, look, he does it. He just does it in his own way. He's not Ryan Grubb where he's just going to explode on a guy. He's not going to do it publicly unless he really has to, like Rock Montgomery at the end of the game, end of one of the games last year, I believe it was the Mercer game, where he just went ballistic on him. But in practice, in meetings, in walkthroughs, when the moment calls for it, he can do it, and he will get after you, especially when you talk to former players. It's the details. This guy is a maniac about watching film and understanding every piece of it. And if you don't have that same commitment, and if you don't then follow through with that, and if you mess them up physically, fine. He's going to understand that. Like a lot of coaches, drop passes can happen. But if you don't know the right route to run, if you're off by a foot of your alignment and that causes the quarterback to throw an incompletion, you're going to hear about it. And you're going to hear about it maybe not with the 4-letter words that Ryan Grubb uses, because Kalen doesn't do that. but he's got that in him. And as one player said, he can flip that switch. He's got it there. He just, as a coach, you talk to people in his past, he made a conscious decision when he moved from being a position coach to a head coach to take on sort of more of an overseeing demeanor where he's trying to consider the big picture and really empowering his assistants to be the ones who are in the weeds. So that's kind of what I think people see on game day. He's keeping his emotions in check, and it's unlike Nick Saban. But I would challenge them that just because it's different doesn't mean it's worse. And just because you don't see him let his emotions out doesn't mean it doesn't happen when the cameras aren't on.
Great stuff from Alex Scarborough. We look forward to seeing you in about a month in Atlanta. It's already going to be just around the corner, College Football Hall of Fame, SEC Football Media Days. But also, and let everybody know how to connect with you and to check out your piece. We've been talking about Jet Tamale all week, but I know you got a piece on him as well.
Yeah, just go to Bama247.com. You can check out my story on Jet. You can find the story I think you alluded to, all the unbreakable records at Alabama.
Yeah.
About Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb and all that fun stuff. You know, it's June. We don't have a whole heck of a lot to do, so we might as well read, right?
No, those were good. I love the unbreakable record thing.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun just to kind of think about, you know, like how many rushing yards they've ever had and the least amount of yards they've given up. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'd encourage everybody, just print it out, bookmark it, and just crush your friends at Alabama football trivia, because you will just ruin their lives by knowing that 748 rushing yards against Virginia Tech, 4,026 rushing yards in 1973, Derek Thomas 5 block kicks. You know, there's so many numbers through Alabama's history that are just, they boggle the mind.
Yeah.
10 interceptions by Hootie Ingram. Go check it out and go crush your friends and make them look really stupid.
Yeah, and 27 and a half sacks for Derek as a senior too. So that's another.
Incredible. That's 52 career sacks.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got number 1 and number 2. I don't think people to this day truly appreciate what Derek Thomas did. And I'll say this because I know you probably got to go.
No,
you talked to all the quarterbacks he sacked that year.
Yeah.
They appreciate it. They still feel their shoulder pain when you call them 20 years later. They still feel that cracked tooth in the back of their mouth. Trust me, I called them. They know.
Awesome.
Oh,
Have a great
good
weekend,
stuff.
Alex. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Alex Scarborough. That's good. That's good. All
I've had
right.
a cracked tooth. They suck.
We got to get a break in. Call a dentist.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
I'm Jeff Jr., founder and CEO of Trajan Wealth. I was born and raised in northern Wisconsin by both my father, who owned a small 10-lane bowling alley, and my mother, who was a nurse, who did her best caring for everyone in our small town. My parents stressed with me that if you were going to do anything, it needed to be done right or not done at all. I later joined the Marine Corps, where additional values were instilled. Values like honor, courage, and commitment. The motto of the Marine Corps, Semper Fi, which means always faithful. The best part of Trajan Wealth, our 100-plus employees who also embrace the exact same values. If your current financial advisor is more interested in selling you something or is more loyal to their own financial gain than yours, give us a call for a second opinion. We would be honored to hear from you. Call Trajan today, 256-208-9000. That's 256-208-9000. 9000.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway, Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com.
At the Huntsville Sports Commission, we do sports. The Rocket City is your destination for world-class sports in North Alabama. The Huntsville Sports Commission brings elite tournaments, championships, and other exciting athletic events to our city. From youth leagues to national championships, we're driving tourism, boosting local business, and building a stronger, more active community. When you team up with us, we'll worry about the details so you don't have to. We do sports.
Since 1986, Full Moon Barbecue has been cooking quality meats low and slow over a hickory wood-fired pit. From ribs and wings, brisket, turkey, catfish, and sausage to the best butts in town. If you're planning a holiday or a birthday party, Full Moon has a large banquet room. And Full Moon is ready for your next catering or tailgate. Just call us and we'll take care of everything. 256-713-0070. Full Moon Barbecue on the Parkway next to Costco. The best little pork house in Alabama.
The Tom Abraham Show. Weekdays beginning at noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone and WZZN TV.
It's on time at the top of the first hour. That is the College World Series. The championship series is all set. Coastal Carolina and LSU. Now, how both teams got there to this point, completely different. Coastal Carolina has just pretty much leveled anybody that they have come up against.
Yeah.
LSU had to have some breaks, and they had to have some ninth inning breaks. And unfortunately, it came on the heels of the Arkansas Razorbacks just, as you would put it, there in the yes, there we go, in the ninth inning. But they've gotten there in different fashions, but they're both there. The championship series is LSU and Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, it is. And we're looking forward to that starting on Saturday to get a couple of days off. Maybe it won't rain there. It rained a little bit yesterday, even in Omaha, but certainly didn't stop Coastal Carolina. They were rolling, no question about that. And we're going to talk to Joe Healy, D1Baseball.com, and talk this championship series, and he specializes in the SEC as well. And it's going to be a really fascinating, matchup. I think Coastal looks like the best team in the country, and I'm anxious to see if Joe Healy agrees with me right now. LSU, very, very talented. We all know, what they've been able to accomplish, in really in their history, starting with Skip Burtman. And then Paul Maneri, and now Coach Johnson. They're outstanding. But again, this seems to be a special team for Coastal.
All right, let's go out to the neighbors. Well, no break. Oh, got to get a break in. Let's get a break in. Okay, I'm a segment ahead. I thought we were.
Well, I guess we're just going to do a lightning segment now.
Well, let's get a break.
Apropos, since it's thunder and lightning and everything else. Hopefully, Joe Healy is not.
Well, we had a great conversation with Alex Scarborough. I thought we were there. I just looked. Okay, let's get a break in. We're going to talk college baseball next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Your Fox 54 weather brought to you by Tellini's Italiano.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky this afternoon. Scattered showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures climbing into the mid-80s, dropping into the mid-upper 60s as we head into the overnight. A mostly sunny sky for your Friday. It looks like we're probably going to stay dry. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s. It is going to feel like it's in the mid and upper 90s. That heat continues as we head into the weekend.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your Rocket City Trash Pandas are back for 12 games in 13 days at Toyota Field, starting June 10th through the 22nd. The back-to-back homestands contain 5 giveaway nights, 4 post-game fireworks shows, 2 brand-new team identities, and the in-park debut of the number 57 Trash Pandas race car. Get your tickets for the double homestand now at TrashPandasBaseball.com.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
At the Huntsville Sports Commission, we do sports. The Rocket City is your destination for world-class sports in North Alabama. The Huntsville Sports Commission brings elite tournaments, championships, and other exciting athletic events to our city. From youth leagues to national championships, we're driving tourism, boosting local business, and building a stronger, more active community. When you team up with us, we'll worry about the details so you don't have to. We do sports.
Hold your block until the whistle blows.
From SEC Media Days to the National Championship Game.
This was a great team win.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, now we're going to talk college baseball. LSU
Thunder and Lightning segment.
LSU, Coastal Carolina, the finals are set. The championship series is set. Both teams got there in different fashions. Coastal, steamrolling. LSU taking advantage of some Arkansas mishaps in the 9th inning yesterday. But they're both there, both in the finals. The SEC has a chance to win yet another college baseball national championship.
And yet I won't be rooting for it because I think Coastal is the best team in the country, and I'm anxious to get the thoughts of one Joe Healy of D1Baseball.com. He does a great job covering the College World Series and college baseball as a whole. He specializes, covers the SEC, ACC. He's always a guy we love catching up with. And what a crazy game last night. Right. As I said, it almost seemed like neither team wanted to win the game, but they continued to compete. It was one of the crazier finishes I can ever remember. And we're going to talk to Joe Healy about that right now. Joe, it's great to have you back on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Doing well. Glad to be with you guys again.
Was that as crazy an ending as you've seen? I mean, LSU, but I'll be honest, the last few innings, both teams looked tight to me.
Yeah, I think there was definitely a little bit of that. I'm with you. Teams just it looked like those teams were kind of handing it back and forth to each other throughout the last few innings. But, in those types of scenarios, though, there is something about just the LSU jersey that seems like, some teams just don't play well when they get into crunch time against the Tigers. And then you combine that with, look, I don't believe in jinxes, but man, Arkansas baseball here in Omaha late in the tournament will give you some compelling evidence otherwise. And then just another heartbreaker for the Razorbacks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is somebody, it's unfortunate. Someone was going to come up and down in that series, but LSU still had to come up with the big hit, still had to find spots in the outfield for that ball to land. And they were able to, persevere in the 9th inning. They didn't give up. They kept fighting. and yet they find themselves now in that championship series.
And it was personified by Jared Jones, who makes a gaffe at first base that could have kept them ahead, but then he gets the two biggest hits of the game, Joe.
Yeah, they did earn it to the extent that, let's not forget that, the ball to left field off Hernandez's bat that went off Gavilan's shoulder, like that was a laser. And then, Jared Jones, that his line drive to win it was an absolute laser. So, I mean, yeah, they put the bat on the ball really well. I mean, they made Arkansas make plays they just couldn't make. Ultimately, in the end, that's kind of what you're looking for, and that's why they talk about, you want to put together a good at bat, you want to put the ball in play, because you just never know. And then in that situation, when teams are tight, it doesn't always take a whole lot to ask of the other team to take advantage of it.
Well, now you look, and we said in the beginning that both teams, LSU and Coastal Carolina, have gotten to this championship series in different fashions. I mean, LSU's had to work for theirs. Coastal Carolina, I mean, they're almost making this look like they're invitational. I mean, they've come through. We knew coming in they were good. We knew they were the hottest team in America. But I think now everybody else is realizing just how good Coastal Carolina really is.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, they really haven't broken a sweat so far. I mean, the pitching has lined up exactly like they would have wanted it. They've done a nice job offensively. They've showcased that this lineup, it really doesn't necessarily have, big time star power. Although, Caden Bodine is a potential first round pick, but he's a first round pick, their catcher, almost more for his defense than anything he's doing offensively. But they showcase that, hey, it's a 1 through 9 lineup that can beat you. Obviously, the pitching and defense is where their bread is buttered. And yeah, you go into a championship series now where the combination of the fact that they really haven't been taxed too much in the College World Series, and people are catching up to the fact that, this team is for real. I do think we have a really fun, really close championship series on our hands starting here in a couple days.
Well, and Joe, I still think, and of course we're all SEC folk down here, but I would still, until someone beats them, I know it's LSU, I know the pedigree they have, but Coastal to me should still be a slight favorite because I think they were underseeded in this process. They
were definitely underseeded, and that ends up hurting, that ends up hurting Auburn too in this process, right? Because they go on the road to play the Tigers, and that really wasn't fair for either side, and we saw how that turned out. But yeah, I think it's a fair take to say they're a slight favorite. I would probably go the other direction and say slight favorite LSU, and here's why. I mean, I love Coastal's 1-2 in the rotation with Flukie and Morrison. Both those guys are pros. They're going to have a chance to be big leaguers, but you look on the other side, and Kate Anderson and Anthony Ianson are two of the best, 5 pitchers in the country. So you have that. Both lineups, I think the lineups are similar in terms of, even in LSU's lineup, there's not a Tommy White, there's not a Dylan Cruz in that lineup this year. I mean, if you want to say it's Jared Jones, I guess that's fair, but it's not a lineup that's centered around 1 or 2 guys that you're just waiting to come up to do all the damage. They've kind of had to get something from everybody. So I think this feels like a push in a lot of areas, like 2 teams that are very, very evenly matched. I just have a hard time getting past the idea that Coastal is going to have to beat one of Anderson or Ianson to have a chance in a game 3. And right now, with the way those 2 are pitching, I'm just not sure there's any team around the country that could pull that off, just given who they are.
So if this was the College Football National Championship, we'd be saying, okay, this guy and this guy, man, watch them on the next level. I know there's a lot of people that are going to tune into this college baseball World Series championship finals, and they're going to be like, okay, it's Coastal and LSU. Outside of the names you mentioned, who are some of the other names that people need to watch and be like, okay, hey, look, these dudes here can really play some baseball?
Yeah, the leadoff guy for LSU, Derek Curiel, is a fun watch. Now he's going to grow. He's kind of lanky and skinny. He's a freshman. He's still got to grow into his body, but I think he's going to be a monster eventually for them. What he does well right now, though, is he just doesn't swing and miss. It's great bat to ball skills, and that's why they have him batting leadoff.
Yeah.
And you could just see it in his body. He looks like a baby giraffe, kind of. It's just he looks kind of awkward right now, but you can see that, okay, this guy's going to put on 20 pounds, and he's going to be a monster at some point. I mentioned Caden Bodine, but I'll expand on him a little bit for Coastal. He's their catcher. And if you're an LSU fan, he's going to frustrate you in this series because he is a master at framing. So he's going to get some strike calls that just are not strikes. and that's the reality of it because he's so good at that. Very good at handling a pitching staff as well. So he's just fun to watch if you enjoy kind of the nuances of the catching position, which I do because I'm a little bit nerdy like that. They also have a dynamic outfielder in Sebastian Alexander for Coastal, and he's a great story, like a junior college kid from Arizona. He played the Arizona junior college ranks, which is not a place that a lot of SEC and Sun Belt players come from. And so he's battled a bunch of injuries and had so much trouble getting on the field. And now he's really the guy that makes their lineup go. And on the LSU side, Stephen Milam is kind of their engine too, both on the defensive side and offensively. His bat is starting to come around. He's had an up and down season. He was having a tough postseason, but now it feels like he's starting to stack together good at bat after good at bat. And then defensively, he's just so rock steady over at shortstop, a guy who didn't play shortstop as a freshman, but moved over there this year and has done a really nice job. And he feels like, look, there's other really good players in the LSU team, but he feels like the guy that sets the tone and makes them go.
Well, I tell you, the guy I really like, and I started noticing him in that 7-6 epic game one over on the Plains. He made 2 spectacular defensive plays to help them escape, 2 unassisted double plays. And that's Blake Barthol, the second baseman for Coastal. And he's a great story because listening to that broadcast yesterday when they were drilling a really good Louisville team, he came to their open tryout that they were just advertising in their dugout, come to their camp. He was he wasn't even on the main field. One of the volunteer coaches was watching him. He came there and basically made the squad, got offered, and it wasn't even on their radar as far as recruiting goes out of the state of Pennsylvania. And he's one of you're talking about a clutch guy. He's as good as there is defensively as I've seen at second base.
Yeah, and he's got a little bit of thunder in his bat too. Like his bat's been a little bit up and down, but had a great offensive year last year. And if he squares the ball up, he's got some pop there. And you're right. That is such a good story because y'all probably know this. Like teams have tryouts like that, and typically they're just like, hey, if we can find like an extra bullpen catcher here today, that's a win. And like they don't expect to find, especially at a program like Coastal, you're not expecting to find like somebody who's going to be a centerpiece of your operation.
A freshman All-American and now like a 3-year starter, right?
Right. Yeah. So yeah, cool story there. Really, really good player for them. Another guy that in that lineup that makes them dangerous.
So when it's all said and done, do we go, is this a Coastal sweep? Does LSU get it, or does this thing go 3 games?
I got to believe 3 with LSU starting pitching, and then the starting pitching in this series is going to be spectacular, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you enjoy watching pitching, like, my goodness, what a treat. I mean, it's 4 dudes. The first 2 days are 4 dudes who are going to be high draft picks, who have a chance to be big leaguers, who have real stuff, who have dominated this year. I mean, it's really it really is going to be a treat. So I'm going to vote with my heart and say we're going 3 here. And that's when it gets interesting because, LSU has not necessarily had a consistent third starter this season. That's been a little bit of a question mark. And, Coastal has a very good third starter in Riley Eichhoff, but he started yesterday and threw a decent number of pitches. And his stuff, he's a very good college pitcher. And he's very effective, but as you guys know, if you're flinging 90-mile-an-hour fastballs up there, you better locate it well. And so there is a little bit of volatility with him. If he's not locating, he can get hit. And so if we get to a third game, it's like all bets are off, all hands on deck. Who knows how it's going to go? Because that's where those 2 teams get a little bit off schedule because both teams want to win this thing in 2 because of the way they have their pitching lined up.
And I'll just say this, it's hypothetical, but if Coastal could pull this off against an Anderson and an Irons, and 2, as you put it, maybe 2 of the best 5 or 6 pitchers in the country, 2 high draft picks coming up in July for the first with the Major League Baseball draft looming, and they end up winning 28 in a row in this season. I don't really care. Like I've said on the show all week, I don't. It's much like what Gonzaga eventually became in basketball. They are no longer considered a mid-major program. If Coastal pulls this off for the second time in less than a decade, I don't think you can consider them a mid-major baseball program.
I think that's right. And their head coach, Kevin Schnall, has kind of spent his entire week here in Omaha, hammering home the idea that we're not a Cinderella. We're a power baseball program. We've been here before. We're a big brand. We're all of that. And he comes off a little bit like a little bit grouchy about it, but I see the point he's making. Like, he wants to make sure his team is respected for what they are. And you're right. I mean, they win this, it's 2 national titles in a 10-year span. And the list of teams that have done that is pretty illustrious in this sport. So I think it's a great point. And I think Gonzaga basketball is exactly the right comparison, where, look, the reality is they're going to be in the Sun Belt, and it's a good league, but it's top heavy, kind of like Gonzaga basketball. It's Gonzaga and St. Mary's and then everybody else. So they're just that's the reality of it, but they're going to exist at a level higher than that. And you're right about the winning streak. If they're able to pull this off and keep that streak going, I don't really care who the opponents are. Like, you're going to win that many games in a row and not have a stinker, not have a game where you just, boot the ball around or your pitcher wasn't any good, like all that stuff. Like, to not have one game like that in that streak is just incredible.
Oh, I know. And just think, I mean, we were kind of joking about it. I mean, the last time they were there, they didn't drop one the last time they were there in Omaha, I don't believe. And if they win this whole thing again, they wouldn't have dropped one. They'd be perfect in 2 trips to Omaha with 2 World Series championships.
Yeah, and two head coaches. I mean, Kevin Chenault was on that staff in 2016, but he wasn't the head coach. And so, I mean, this has just been a dream handoff. Some of these like coach in waiting situations, they can go either way. Like, it's not a guarantee, but theirs has gone about as well as you could have hoped. And some of that is because I think, Gary Gilmore understood, hey, we're going to have a good team. Let me pass this thing off to him with a chance to be special, and they've taken advantage of it, to their credit.
And then finally, Joe, we haven't spoken with you on our show about it, but it certainly looks very promising early. Second highest paid coach in college baseball, a lot of transfer portal success, a huge hire for Mississippi State, getting Brian O'Connor from Virginia.
Yeah, dream scenario when you can bring in a guy who has won a national title, who's been to Omaha a bunch of times, including recently, I think 3 out of the last 4 seasons. And by the way, a guy who's going to be able to bring a good chunk of his best players from a very good program over to Mississippi State. You keep Justin Parker. I think that's huge. That helps not only keep the roster together, but he's a very well-respected pitching coach. And I think those around Mississippi State were pretty pleased with the way the season went after Chris Lemonis was let go, that Parker did a pretty nice job guiding that ship the rest of the way. So it just feels like a win all around for Mississippi State. We'll see how it goes in actuality, but I think it's about as good a hire as you could have possibly done if you're Mississippi State. And I'm impressed with the fact that, he was their top target and the search was pretty quiet and there wasn't a whole lot of circus around it, and they just got their guy. Like, that's, in today's day and age, that's pretty impressive stuff to get that done in such a buttoned up manner is the way they did.
So does Murray State lose their baseball coach now to Duke?
It's certainly on the table. I ultimately think that job is probably going to go elsewhere. Like, I think Skylar Meade is also in the mix there. And I just think the history of Skylar Meade as an SEC pitching coach, as a guy who's been very consistent at Troy, but I do think it's on the table for Murray State to lose their coach. But if he doesn't go to Duke, there's really not a whole lot else open. And so I think Murray State's going to be fortunate to hang on to him at least for another year, and we'll see what they're able to do.
Wow.
And I thought for Virginia, it certainly is tough losing a guy that meant so much, the best coach in the history of your program, in Brian O'Connor, but getting Chris Pollard, who did remarkable things at Duke, I thought was a good hire.
Yeah, it's a similar type of school. Like, he could basically just do what he's done at Duke and have a pretty decent amount of success at Virginia, a school that just has baseball backing more so than at Duke. I mean, he's succeeded in spite of a lot of things at Duke, and so at Virginia, he's not going to have some of those same roadblocks that he had at Duke. So you're right. I mean, it was just kind of like a no-brainer. Once that job came open to bring Chris Pollard over.
Well, Joe, we appreciate the time. We know you're busy over there in Omaha. We're envious. Let everybody know how to follow your coverage. You guys do a great job at d1baseball.com.
I appreciate you guys saying that. Go to d1baseball.com. You can click the SEC Extra tab at the top of the page for most of my stuff and that of my colleague, Mark Etheridge, and you can follow me on social at Joe Healy B1.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, fellas. Take care.
All right. So, by the way, in case you were wondering, Coastal Carolina has that 26-game win streak going into the finals. The previous record for win streaks going into the finals was only 18 games.
Yeah.
So they have shattered the previous record.
So if they can finish this at 28, they're one of the best teams ever.
Let's get a break in. See you.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Your customers deserve the best, and so do you. You invest in your customers with your heart, soul, and skill. Well, it's time to invest in yourself with the next generation Cat 255 compact track loader from Thompson Tractor. After all, those who give their best deserve the best, and this machine has it all. With features that include a more powerful engine, tri-axle truck loading capabilities, a spacious cab, and a smooth ride for all-day comfort. Best of all, now Thompson Tractor is making that investment even better with our workhorse special. Get 0% financing for 36 months on the purchase of a new Cat 255 compact track loader that comes with a 3-year warranty. You also get a 74-inch bucket and 1,000-hour filter kit. But hurry, this offer is only good through June 30th. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for details. Thompson Tractor, we're here for you.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case.
We'll take care of it.
The Lackey Law Firm. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
John Abraham here from The Blitz. Look, I love a good party. So why not join me on June 27th at Bobcat of Huntsville as we celebrate their new location on Highway 20 in Madison, right beside Redstone Harley-Davidson. I recently got to check out their massive 13,000 square foot location, and I was amazed. Don't just take my word for it. Come on down to Bobcat of Huntsville and enjoy the day from 10 to 3 p.m. Food, fun, and a whole lot of door prizes will be available. So don't miss out as the Blitz will be live on location June 27th.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
1-2. Blew it right by him. Swing and a miss on a fastball and 2 down here in the 9th. 0-1. Ground ball to second. Ozzy's there. Flips to Allen. Steps on the bag. Braves win. It's a shutout victory over the Mets. 5-0 the final score on a night where Chris Sale led the parade. What a magnificent night for Chris and the Braves as they take this series. And they will go for a sweep tomorrow. They really set the tone early. A homer by Acuna on the first pitch of the bottom of the first. And the boys were out and running from there on. And Chris Sale led them across the finish line to this victory.
So there you go. Braves get it done last night. Chris Sale, masterful against the Mets.
As good as there is in baseball. And, of course, Acuna's come back and just, just hit the ground running, literally. Homered in his first game, homered yesterday. He's just a remarkable player. Can carry a franchise. That's why, to me, he's untradeable. Because he's just that good. He's as good as any player in baseball. He's a lot better than Juan overrated Soto, who's playing against him in that series. Juan doesn't even know how many outs there are, where the baseball is. I mean, hopefully Strider can continue and build off how he threw the last start, and they can sweep the Mutts. It's always great to beat those maggots.
So Chris Sale lowered his ERA to 2.52, but it's 1.23 in his past 10 starts, with 82 strikeouts, 19 walks, and 66 innings over that span for Chris Sale.
Reigning NL Cy Young Award winner and still pitching like it.
Yep, he has 16 career complete games, including 3 shutouts, the last of which was in 2019. He came close to that last night. I know everybody in Truist Park, they kind of booed Snitker for pulling him in the 9th, but Snitker was going to take him out in the 8th. Sale lobbied to come in back in the 9th, did what he had to do. Chris Sale didn't mind coming out. He had like 100 and some pitches, 113, 114 at that point. He was okay with it. He was fine. He was just glad he got to go back out there for the night.
MUTS. Much.
RAIN. Rain, rain, rain.
Go away.
Come again another day. Hey, that's us. We'll come again another day, just not tomorrow.
That sounded bad.
Oh, it did. Which hole?
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
What does it mean to be a part of the Southeastern Conference? That you paint your body